When moving, the following notification message is output to the tracking target. so you can pay gold to instantly pop next to the guy that just killed you, so you can whoop his ass, but at the same time the guy that you pop next to is going to get a message that some raging guy that you just killed is coming to get your ass. Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video we're gonna take a look at the most recent official article posted on the Elyon forums. This one talks about dungeons, dimensional explorations, Hall of Fame, and the PvP realm versus realm system in particular. This gives us a little bit of insight into how the game is going to be. This gives us hints here and there on what we can expect from Elyon, so I'm very excited to get going and read this article for the first time with you guys here on cam. I'm gonna link it in the description below in case you wanna read more or whatever. Let's get into the whole thing. The first thing they talk about is dungeons. Elyon's dungeons can be entered based on the character's level and the average item level. So it's gonna be one of those games that is based on item level. There are a total of 9 dungeons, from the first goblin cave you meet to the most difficult eroded auditorium. From the dungeon UI menu, without having to get a separate party, you can automatically enter through the automatic matching button. So if you are alone, you don't need to like recruit from LFG, you can just queue up. It's a dungeon queuing system that is based on item level and character level as well. Of course, you can form a separate party and enter if there are not enough people in your party. It is also possible to fill in with automatic matching. However, a 5-player dungeon requires a class to play a specific role. So if you want to use the matching system, they will have this healer, tank, DPS kind of roles. Where did I remember this from? I think from Terra. Terra also had the same, where when you queued up, you could select if you're a class that is an actual tank or is a tank and a healer or whatever, a tank and a DPS. You could select different roles to queue up as. Roles and personnel are determined when matching defense, healing, and attack, right? So one defense guy, as in one tank, 1 healers, and 3 DPS. That means groups in Elyon are 5-man, which is a pretty sweet number, very old school as well. If you want to enter the desired party composition, you can enter the dungeon gate directly. So if you don't want to go through the matching and you want to have not necessarily 1 tank, 1 healer, and 3 DPS, you can just go with 4 DPS and 1 healer, but then you have to go to the dungeon gate and enter it manually. Here they give you a picture of this is maybe the dungeon gate. On the other hand, if you enter through the gate, you must go directly to the place where the dungeon is located. The advantage of being, wait, where's the dungeon UI on the left hand side and then dungeon gate on the right hand side. This is how the dungeon UI looks. Very, very simplistic, very, very BDO made a baby with Bless Online kind of thing. So many, I don't know, there is so many details, yet the UI is very blessy. I feel like the details come from BDO with all of these brizzes and all of this text and information here, and but then at the same time the UI is very simple. I like it, I don't mind it, looks pretty legit, looks pretty cool, easy on the system probably, so you know, why make something fancy to enter a goddamn dungeon? When one of the party members enters, the rest of the party members are automatically asked to enter. Interesting, nothing spectacular, nothing game breaking here, just plain old working liked things in an MMORPG. I like this, thumbs up so far. Dimensional exploration, this is another system that they want to have in game. Dimensional exploration through portals. Looks pretty legit, why not? Looks nice, looks like it should be there. It is new content that explores different dimensions and acquires its abundant resources. Kind of feels like a farming thing, and you get gear also. Since it is a different dimension, you can stay for about an hour and you can acquire gold, experience, and advanced equipment. There you go. So these portals seem to be very important. Interesting take on on something to do that's very viable and very important, because if the material is there and if the rewards are abundant, of course you would want to go do these things. This is on the side of regular dungeons and raids or whatever they might have else. Dragon Hunter's Border. The Dragon Hunter's Border is where the dragon Decane dies and is divided into steel bearded citadels. This is a PvP/PvE kind of place where you get pretty cool materials, and this is the red faction that starts here and has this particular thing as a base and so on, and this is the blue faction here. Now all of this is a PvE area that is also a PvP area, so it's a pretty interesting thing that very many people that I know miss in MMORPGs, which is that sense of instanced yet feels like open world PvP. Sort of like Guild Wars 2 has this world versus world, sort of like Elyon had those Tiamaranta's Eye and places where there was a map, right? Not very big as a usual map. It's a map, but it's a PvP kind of map, and it also has PvE elements. This is very important because Guild Wars 2, for example, has little to no PvE things inside their world versus world. So that's more of a niche kind of thing. But Elyon, for example, that is why that thing was fun in Elyon, to do PvP in a PvE kind of area. Really many people love this because it's a good place to farm, and people who want to take a risk, take a chance, and PvPers for that matter of fact, they love to farm in PvP areas where they can defeat their opponents if they're farming their spot, right? An interesting idea, very catchy to this type of Elyon kind of player, right? Elemental research paper, elemental labs with a lot of golden experience. Is this like a zone or is this like a dungeon? Are all of these rifts? Maybe they are. Actually, they might be, to be honest, because all of this is under the big headline of dimensional exploration. So why not this be a dimensional exploration kind of thing, right? Because this is not as highlighted as this one right here. So yeah, all of these, actually including this one right here, might be just zones or instance things in these rifts. In each area, huge golems that can be seen from a distance appear. Each of these 3 boss monsters is called Blazing Fury, Swirling and Frozen Meadow. Even if you are only nearby, it exudes powerful energy and sustains continuous damage, so it's better to avoid it if you find it, unless of course you have a huge group, right? The Hall of Fame, this is another topic, Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame is an ongoing content and is largely divided into 3 categories: training ground, battlefield and arena. Battlefield and arena are not subject to item level restrictions and can be matched regardless of faction. Really good stuff that they started straight from the get-go with no bullshit, equalized PvP, no item level required here. Really good stuff. Battlefield and 2 versus 2, 3 versus 3 arenas can earn a trophy of honor at the first victory of each day and collect 5 of them to receive a special reward. Cool. Is this how an arena map looks like? Do they have like these pillars in there that you can hide behind, like in WoW? Like strategic kind of design elements in the arena. The Hall of Fame can be found at the bottom of the minimap, etc, etc, right? Training ground. The training ground is a space for one-to-one confrontation with an NPC. Okay. Feel free to try out my controls against AI. Okay. You can get various runestones as a reward for achieving the stage, so please participate. Okay, so you get some basic rewards after you've learned your class there. 19 levels in the training ground, and rewards can be received when the level is achieved. After each level, they want to say. Evil Spirit Castle. This is again a PvP thing. The Castle of Evil Spirits is Battle Royale content. Battle Royale content, my boys. Elyon got you. You don't need Fortnite, you don't need PUBG. We have Elyon coming up, my boys. This is where 6 matched players, regardless of faction, gather to cover the last one. Right, that's why they were 6 here in the thing. Both of these, I think, they're battle royales, and you fight versus the other 5. Okay, cool. If they did it in a nice way, if they did it in an interesting way, a proper way, I believe this can be very, very fun. If they did it in a let's just do it way, like Aeon had it, for example. Aeon had the same kind of the same thing, where you go inside the arena of chaos and you're alone and everyone's in their own teams and you just hunt each other. That wasn't really many people's cup of tea, because people like 2v2s, 3v3s, 5v5s, 1v1s. They don't like this. Battle Canyon. The Battle Gorge is a competitive content in which 3 players get a maximum score as a team. Matching is possible regardless of faction and can be applied as a party, 3 people or less. I see mobs here. Is it PvP with mobs? Really nice, good old Dredgen times, or is it just PvE things? Requirements for scoring: monster kills, including monster kills, kill opponent teams. Okay, so it is a PvP. Wow, really good stuff. I love, from playing Aeon for so many years back in the day, I love PvP with mobs. I love it. I know it's not fair. I know it's pointless, and I know that it's frustrating, but I absolutely love it. It gives me such old school Aeon vibes. I cannot even tell you. Super cool stuff. Super cool stuff. Termination conditions. Kill boss monsters, end of round time. Okay, cool. And win conditions, get the most points. Cool stuff. So you have to wait on a timer every time, and whichever team has the most points wins. It's exactly like Dredgen in Aeon. Identical ideas. Such a cool thing. Such a good vibe this gives me. Cool stuff. Armory Factory. The Panzer Factory quickly defeats monsters to collect panzer parts. This is the content to destroy the defense tower of the opposing team's factory by boarding the summoned armored vehicle. This is like a steel wall bastion, only for much fewer people, and 2020 version. The battlefield divided into east and west factories, as it is a battlefield played in 3v3, will develop as fast as you kill the mobs, probably. Since the battlefield is rather wide, if you move to the outside of the factory and defeat monsters, you can collect parts without interruption if you are lucky. Depending on the team's strategy, you can block and interfere with players of the opposing team. You can quickly kill monsters and divide them into members that collect armored parts. If you have enough armed force, as in if your DPS is good enough, you can also hit the enemy's defensive tower directly to deal damage. This, what I've just read in the past 30 seconds, reminds me of when when Aeon changed the Dredgen kind of ideas and went to this level 60 or higher Dredgens, even 55, and nobody cared about the PvP inside the Dredgen. It was easier to just spam your way or rush your way to the boss, to the end, to this enemy player's towers, like in this case, and then just fight there. Everyone got there as fast as their DPS was, right? It was not a very good time in Aeon's Dredgen time, but hey, it is a thing, and luckily it's a completely different thing than this one right here. So this one is, you know, you have to kill the enemy players and stuff, and there's mobs, etc. That boss is cool. And this one right here is, hey, you have to have your own tactic to kill the enemy's tower first. That's all your purpose is, to kill a tower, not necessarily to PvP, but you can if it's part of your tactic. Super cool ideas for PvP they have. Can I just clap one more time for these boys in Elyon for their PvP ideas that they want to go for? Really nice. PvP realm versus realm system. Shall we learn about Elyon's PvP realm versus realm? Yes, we want to learn. Is it safe to have my character at my base for a while? I'm wondering if I can die from the other side. Within each faction, the opposing faction cannot strike first. Okay, so if the guy is in your base, you have to strike first and then you become red to him. Yeah. Will my experience decrease if my character dies from PvP? If the character dies at the opponent's side during PvP, the experience will not decrease. During the PvP, if you die from an external factor other than PvP, such as a monster attack, your experience will drop, so be careful. Experience going down in 2020, my boys. This happened in Aeon for 3 years, but that was in 2009, 2008. This right here is for me a nice change. Makes me smile, makes me remember Aeon, but for very many new players of MMORPGs, it's not. I was killed by my opponent's faction. Can I find and revenge after respawn? Try the killer system in the main menu. Wow, this is nice, dude. This is nice. This is like if someone killed you, you can have him in the history, and I hope that somehow he gets highlighted with like some triangle on top of his head in a blob, so you can only focus him because he was the one who killed you. Interesting stuff. This is a 2020 edition to Elyon, so this is very nice. When the opponent dies, the killing part of the main menu is activated. You can track the character of opposing faction that caused your character to die up to 10 people for 24 hours. Wow, so you can revenge kill them for 24 hours, my boys. Only traceable once each. Right, so right. So okay, so you kill them once and then you're fair. Okay, it would have been ridiculous but fun. When tracking, you can consume gold to move near that character. Wait, what? When moving, the following notification message is output to the tracking target. so you can pay gold to instantly pop next to the guy that just killed you, so you can whoop his ass, but at the same time the guy that you pop next to is going to get a message that some raging guy that you just killed is coming to get your ass. This is very interesting. This is interesting and controversial at the same time, because I don't believe it's okay to pay gold in order to teleport next to a guy that's maybe a million miles away just because he killed you. It doesn't have to be behind them, right? It can be in the vicinity of the guy. But still, just saying, it's a little bit bizarre. An interesting thing though, an interesting system. Why not? You know, let factions hate each other. I always say this, and I've said this from the beginning. I love MMORPGs that have faction-based thing. I love factions and every single thing they give. They give a sense of purpose most of all. They give a sense of community, a sense of what am I doing in this world, in the game that I'm playing, right? Just like humans in real life, we need to have a purpose. We need to have jobs, school, girlfriends, etc. This is purpose for us to live. The same factions gives the same thing in MMORPGs on top of everything else, right? It's not that important, but let people hate each other a little bit amongst factions. It creates for a healthy, not a healthy relationship between factions, but it creates for a healthy ecosystem. People get to love that computer game a little bit more because they feel they're part of this particular faction, and I'm an alliance guy, I'm a horde, and for the horde, and Ilios Asmodean, I'm a, you know, it's nice. It's super nice, and I like this. Why not? I approve of this. This was everything for this article, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I'm happy to share with you any further details that Elyon gives us. I tried to apply to the closed beta thing, the second closed beta, but obviously you cannot unless you have a verified account by phone number, which we don't have. However, accounts are gonna be available at one point when OBT starts for this. Hopefully OBT starts in, I wouldn't say necessarily that I'm optimistic for August, but I am very optimistic for September this year that we will be able to start diving into OBT Korea in Elyon. Until my next video, guys, in just a couple of days from now, I thank you so much for watching, and I wish you a lovely day and see you really soon.